have your stream.
You have my stream? What do you mean?
Yeah. We're here. We exist, Lauren.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry about that. I forgot to hit the button. I'm here with Bruce from Wisconsin, not Oregon, aka Only Antlers, aka a bunch of other things. And I want to go over this ridiculous hearing in the Owens bankruptcy case last week. Laura Owens' parents, Jan Black and Ronn Owens, who many believe are complicit in her crimes, are not doing too well, kind of floundering in their bankruptcy case, probably due to the, massive amounts of fraud that family has done over the years. Sorry, I got distracted by a comment.
Hello, everybody in chat.
No, we're good. Okay. I'm sorry. I was just fixing my camera. That's why we were a little bit late. But we've been later before. But anyways, we have a very special guest with us here as well. I'm going to let Bruce introduce them. Hang on. How do I?
We do? Oh, maybe we do. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest cat is Floofy Cupcake. Floofy Cupcake is going snorkeling and has a fez and a yard flamingo. So Floofy Cupcake is already ready for the weekend, even though it's only Tuesday.
Totally.
That's our guest cat. Anyway.
So I tried to, we were going to do like a top 5 list, and then I started listening to this passively. And I was like, I can't, because the whole thing is just fucking insane. I was like, I'm gonna skip over the boring parts, and there were no boring parts. It was all nuts. I'm just gonna take this off my camera. That'll help.
It's a wild ride.
Yeah, and so I was like, I don't know what to do. So I guess we're just gonna go through probably half of it or less tonight. But we're actually gonna first look at Bruce's. Bruce does have a list of highlights. If you want to click into that, Bruce, we can look at that.
I'm very formal tonight. I made PowerPoints.
A little preview of what's to come.
Yeah. Now, Lauren
Lauren
told me to make a top 5 list, and I tried, guys. I really tried. But as I went through the transcripts of this hearing, I could not be contained at 5 items, and I had to explode up to 8 items. So this is my top 8 list. It's sort of in order, but maybe not. I don't know. But anyway. Now, Lauren, let me walk through these and you tell me what you think of these things. Did I put them in the right order? So right off the bat, 5 minutes in, the federal attorney is flabbergasted, right? Because they missed the June 26th amendment deadline and posted files the night before the hearing.
The excuse is always, well, we were trying to find third-party funding for a lawyer. And I'm like, the judge already said you need to have this anyways, and then they keep trying to use an excuse. Like eventually it's not going to work. So
oh my gosh, but they got it done the night before. So shout out to Ms. Giamo for pulling an all-nighter, I guess. I mean, I can't even understand what that would take to get prepared for this thing. But anyway, so that's my number 8. Number 7 is the entire who wrote the GoFundMe debacle. We found out in this hearing, breaking news, that it sort of sounds like Jan wrote the GoFundMe text and put it up, or at least edited the final copy that went onto the GoFundMe, even if maybe a first draft was written by a quote unquote friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a whole other slide just on that topic because I found that language interesting.
Yeah, that was insane. Mm-hmm. I was listening to that. When I was listening to that, I honestly couldn't contain my frustration. I said out loud, I was like, "Oh my God, Jan, please, please stop!" Like the attorney for the DOJ, Jennifer, had remarkable composure compared to what I would have done. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
What's number 6?
Number 6. Stockpiling $7,000 in cashier's checks and just being sort of laissez-faire about it. Like, well, they're just lying around the house. It's not like we're not hiding money or anything. We don't know when these checks were made. We don't know why they were made. We don't know who they're made out to. It's just, are these their plane tickets to Vietnam, like Donna Adelson? Like, what's going on here? Like, why do you need $7,000 in cashier's check? It's wild. But anyway, that's number 6. And then 5, we get into the good stuff here. So we find out through this hearing that they've paid their daughter Sarah over $21,000 as reimbursements for expenses, for HELOC payments. I don't know that we've ever seen any receipts for these HELOC payments, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
It's a little suspicious.
Oh, Sarah says she said they needed the cashier's check to protect the money.
I mean, there you go. I mean, anyway. I half expect these guys to have like gold bars buried in the backyard, but maybe the horses would dig them up. I don't know. That would be bad.
Dude. I don't know. Well, like, so this thing with number 5 is, I've been thinking for a long time, and I think a lot of people have had this thought for a long time, is that they're like transferring money to Laura and Sarah and then using that money out of their hands to pay for Laura's legal bills.
Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting hypothesis for sure.
Yeah. Can't prove it. Just saying, it's just a speculation, but
yeah. I mean, if anybody can follow this financial paper trail, it will be the bankruptcy folks, the bankruptcy attorneys and all that. Okay, so that one was wild news. Number 4, I think the understated ballpark support of their daughter Laura, which obviously the amount we looked at on the previous filing that was submitted a day before the hearing came in just under the threshold for indigency status, and we recently saw the indigency status request granted in the criminal case, right? So this blows my mind because the bankruptcy attorney is literally telling them, well, you're also paying these car-related costs and other things, and the number you came up with on the page is a very specific number, right? It's like $1,608 or something. Like it has an 8 at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that in the notes. I actually haven't heard that part of the hearing yet. And I will say, like, if you guys haven't listened to this yet, and most of you probably have, because we have kind of a community here that goes through with everybody. But if you haven't heard it yet, the actual hearing is so much worse than reading it. It is wow. Like, oh my God. It's humiliating. I have secondhand embarrassment. Like it's that bad.
And I should mention for people, if you want to screenshot this, all these timestamps at the end, these are timestamps for the transcript for the Schnitzel Ninja copy of the hearing. So there's no commentary in that copy. You can just listen to the hearing by itself if you want to do that. So that's what those timestamps are. Okay. And of course, they were like, we're ballparking our support. Like, they're just, it comes and goes with the tides, I guess. Okay. Number 3. Paying Colesrud and calling it a business expense. Now, Colesrud, of course, was Laura's first paid criminal attorney. So they've admitted that they were the ones who paid Colesrud. Now, we still have an outstanding question about whether what they paid in this meeting, what they talked about paying in this meeting, covered the debt that Laura had in her Chapter 7 bankruptcy, because we did see a debt to Colesrud in her Chapter 7 bankruptcy, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
So I don't know if this payment paid that off or if that debt is in addition to this payment.
That's a good question. Yeah.
So that's
I assume they owe him a lot more than that, but that was probably just a chunk of it.
Now, part 2 of this was interesting because they're saying, okay, you're giving a gift to your daughter. And Jan was basically saying, no, it's a business expense.
How do they justify that? They said she was like the face of the business or whatever, and they're protecting their reputation. That's not how that works.
I guess, but to me, it's just strange thinking to me, because my conclusion after hearing Jan talk about how, no, paying a criminal defense attorney is a business expense tells me that everything that Laura did to Greg Gillespie and Clayton Echard that resulted in 14 felony charges were business activities.
Oh,
they weren't personal activities. Like Laura's out here doing business, doing things that eventually turn into criminal charges. And of course, she's innocent until proven guilty. She hasn't gone to trial yet. But apparently all that activity is business activity. Is that what Jan is saying here? I don't think she would want to say that. But anyway, so that's why this one's near the top of my list.
My 36-year-old failed daughter is a business expense.
Yeah, I mean, it's accurate.
Oh, and they keep saying she can't work. I'm like, she can work.
Yeah.
She just doesn't.
Yeah, they did. She definitely did also say, oh, yeah, she's unable to work, but didn't explain why. That could have made the list, I think, as well. but we've heard that before. No, number two was a bigger bombshell that Jan and Ron apparently don't know who's paying for Mr. Looters, her current criminal attorney.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Which is kind of wild because they're claiming Laura as a dependent. She lives in their property. They pay all her expenses for living and everything, but they don't know who's paying her current criminal attorney.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's, like I said, a bunch of bullshit. There's no way they don't know that. They control every aspect of her life. She depends on them financially. They can basically control every aspect of her life by giving her money. Mm-hmm. And so they're now suddenly they don't know who's paying for her criminal attorney. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. So
that one was right up at the top. But for me, the number one thing from this hearing was the fact that the bankruptcy attorney has documented disbursements in an 18-month period that are over $500,000. So
disbursements, what is that? Okay, what are we saying here?
The money's going out of their bank accounts. So paying bills,
spending and
money. Yeah,
whatever. Okay.
Money is leaving.
Okay. Yeah.
What is all this? Where is it going?
How much do they get from their? I know they get like 20. What do they get, like $20K a month or something from their?
It's around $21K per month from pensions and Social Security combined. So they're bringing in about $21K a month. Now, I was asking Big Tiff Dog about this. The tax burden on that is probably very low. So it's not like they have to take 40 to 60% of that and just throw it at taxes.
Sure. They're
probably getting almost all of that money, which is a lot of money on a monthly basis to live off of.
I don't think they've paid their taxes anyways from the sound of it. So.
Well, yeah, that was another thing because apparently one of the tax returns they had given to the bankruptcy attorney didn't have the correct signatures or numbers on it to indicate that it had actually been filed. So they have to fix that.
That is the Laura Owens playbook right there, signing the wrong date on the medical release forms in front of the judge.
Yeah, but luckily Ms. Giamo was not having an unsigned piece of paper, so she caught that. That was good. But just this level of spending just blows my mind that they're bringing in $21K a month and it's going somewhere, even while they haven't paid their mortgage. It's all disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's number one. And of course, like we talked about with Patrick and Big Tiff Dog, I have the paperwork bonus. It wasn't talked about. This is from the paperwork previous to the meeting, but if you look at their assets that they've listed and you say, okay, do these guys have any equity? Do they have bank accounts? Do they have investment accounts? What do they have?
Mm-hmm.
Gold bars in a safe somewhere. What is their equity, right? Not just the income, but equity that you hold on to.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got like the $7,000 cashier's checks. We've got a few bank accounts with whatever, a few $1,000s in it. The number one thing they listed in their paperwork in terms of equity was this horse, Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes.
So there's a horse / pony that's apparently their biggest equity asset for the.
I think these guys
here.
Probably need to. It doesn't sound like the businesses are bringing in that much income compared to like their Social Security or whatever, their pension or whatever. I think it's maybe time to let go of that because they're spending more, it sounds like, on maintenance than they are getting on the horse business. So it's time to let that go, I think.
I don't know. I mean, they have documented money coming in for some of the businesses for these years that the bankruptcy attorney is looking at, but apparently, it's all operating at a loss. Once you take into account expenses, I guess. I don't know what these expenses are, but
the expenses are paying for Laura's horse jumping competition. She's supposed to be at court. I don't actually know what the expenses are, but
that's
I'm
the
sure
other
they're
thing.
Overblown and exaggerated.
I mean, we don't have all these bank account statements, so we can't tease it out. But I would have expected maybe a better separation of their LLCs and those bank accounts in terms of what comes in and what goes out for each LLC versus a personal account, which is maybe, okay, you got a personal account and your pension and your Social Security go into that and you pay your you know, you fix the roof, you buy food, you pay for your car. That happens out of that account. Meanwhile, your LLCs are either operating at a profit or loss with those other accounts. But it seems like maybe some of this was commingled, which makes it difficult.
A lot of it, yeah.
Okay, so that's
someone
my
in Megan's
list.
afternoon posts said that Frosted Flake is worth or sold for $100. Fuck.
Oh, geez. I don't know.
All right. Well, what do you got on the next slide? Let's show them.
Yeah. So if we go back to the who wrote, because everybody's interested in this GoFundMe, right? Because they made in a short amount of time something like $120,000, right? With this GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the language in the GoFundMe is sort of open to interpretation in terms of what the GoFundMe is for. And what the bankruptcy attorney was pointing out is there's a lot of language about health and medical issues, which might lead a donator to think that they are helping with medical bills.
Yeah.
But the paper trail basically said, no, none of this GoFundMe money was really used for medical bills. And of course, Jan's
hey, $200 of it was used for medical expenses.
Yeah. I mean, out of $120,000. But anyway, you know, Jan's basically saying, well, we said financial struggles, right? Financial struggles could be anything. Right?
When you advertise it as his struggles with his health, people donate, especially with the expectation, especially the comments in that GoFundMe, I heard you can kind of tell, with the expectation that it's going towards supporting them in their time of need because of medical bills. Mm-hmm. So it is intentionally misleading. Whether or not they can get away with that language legally, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not the best person to tell you that, but it is, as on a personal level, on a human level, it's disgusting. So.
Oh yeah, and people have pulled out comments on the GoFundMe page from people who donated, who wrote comments about, oh, you know, medical bills are difficult. You know, basically people talking about medical bills.
You know, if the GoFundMe donors are entitled to receive their money back, I am a creditor. So I donated under the name Chase J. Jones.
Yeah.
But it came out of my bank account, so I would like my money back, please.
Well, yeah, Lauren, now that you've learned that they didn't pay a bunch of medical bills with this GoFundMe, are you upset? Do you feel like you have been taken advantage of here with your 5 Chase J. Jones bucks?
I feel deeply disappointed that I am constantly right about these people. That's all I feel. I don't know what to say.
Very good. Okay, so at the very beginning, you know, around the 20-minute mark, they had this long discussion about who wrote this GoFundMe or who created the GoFundMe. And really all the bankruptcy attorney was asking was, there's a bunch of text on the GoFundMe when you go to the page. Who wrote that? And the very simple answer that Jan could have given was, I wrote that. Or she could have said, well, I posted it and a friend wrote it, but I don't want to say who that friend is.
Yeah.
Instead, she went through this long back and forth where she didn't really answer the question. And I just wanted to point out, when you listen to it, try to pick out the verbs and how she meanders this path of verb picking to try and get out of really answering this question. Because this is linguistically a very interesting thing in this hearing. So she says things like the GoFundMe was the idea of friends, and note that's plural, friends of ours. So she starts out, oh, our friends, plural, you know, and she doesn't say anybody authored it or wrote it. She says it was an idea.
Bruce, I'm getting a hint of Jack Fox here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be Jack Fox to know this is totally wacky. Like, this is over the top. But anyway, so then she says, well, it was initially authored, which implies some sort of editing or refinement, right? Because she says initially authored by someone who was a friend. And now we're down to a singular friend. And of course, the bankruptcy attorney asks for the name of this person, and she won't give them the name. And so she says, I'm the one who posted it, which again, this is not who wrote it. Okay. Posting it, somebody can write it and hand it to you and you can post it, right? That's a different verb. And then finally she switches to, I finalized it, which to me is sort of like saying, well, I wrote the final draft or I edited the final draft, but she's using this sort of vague verb, finalized, right? Like the final draft.
Yeah.
And then it was very strange because she says, I'm saying, put it on me. So she says something, just say I did it. Like, is that the truth or is that not? She's under oath.
She probably did do it. She and Laura, you know what I mean? But we can't prove that.
I know, but like the idea that, well, somebody else wrote it, but just go ahead and say I wrote it. Like, this is not how the truth works, right? Like, this is storytelling. And I was just blown away that you're sitting in a bankruptcy hearing with federal lawyers and you're saying, just tell my story. Don't worry about the truth, right? And you're basically just
like
telling them
four times. Just tell me the name. Just tell me. And that's when I got really frustrated, when I was just like sitting here listening while I was working or while I was doing something else. And I was just like, Jan, stop. Just answer the question.
Yeah. And she keeps going back to, she doesn't want to say a name because she was just having informal conversations with her friend or friends. Now, I don't know about you, Lauren. How many formal conversations do you have with your friend or friends?
None. None.
So this, again,
that sounds stuffy and boring. Why would I want to do that?
It's just pay attention to the verbs she uses, because I think it tells you whether or not you're getting a straight answer. Okay. And those are my thoughts.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to pull this up now really quick. Thank you, Bruce, for that. I had no idea he was going to have a whole slideshow for me, so that was cool. Let's see. I'll put this up. It's
corporate.
I'm going to zoom in on this so we can see. We won't read all of these, but just a couple. Let's see. This is Ronn's GoFundMe. A comment from Linda Bauman says, Ronn, your present situation is a graphic example of what's wrong with our medical system. California has been trying to implement a single-payer financing system for some 3 decades. No one should be forced to turn to GoFundMe to avoid a medical bankruptcy. Okay, so I don't think I need to even read the rest of that comment. You can tell that the viewers here are under the impression that this is because of his medical bills, which is not the truth. Okay. Let's see. The Ronn Owens show was a constant presence in our homework car, especially when our mother picked us up from school if we were sick. As a devoted listener, my stay-at-home mom faithfully tuned into every program. Through your guest callers and thoughtful discussions, we all learned so much. Thank you to you. Thanks to you, I developed a love for talk radio, balanced, reasonable talk radio. In memory of my mother, I'm making this donation to honor the man and the voice that truly defined my childhood in Tara Linda. And I mean, this is kind of disgusting that they misinformed these people and misled these people to donate hundreds of dollars, up to almost $140,000 almost, when this was not for medical bills at all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this GoFundMe is still open, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's people like this person here at the top who's donating monthly.
Wow, yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah. I wonder if there's anyone else who has monthly donations turned on. I know this person obviously does, but
and you don't even know, did they realize they're doing a monthly donation, or is it just sort of disappearing?
Yeah, there's another monthly here. I'm not sure, dude. I have no idea. I mean, some people, like you sign up for a subscription on like iTunes or whatever, and then you forget about it and it's taken out of your bank account. It could be like that, but I'm not sure. So, let me share this tab now. We're gonna get into this recording. We're not gonna listen to all this. Can't do that tonight. We're going to listen to some of it, maybe up to half. It just depends on how long it takes. But I will skip to a couple of parts right now, and then I'm going to circle back just to give you a preview of what's going on here. Let me see. I want to go to, I have some timestamps written in my notes. 48:23. We'll go around here. All right, let's listen to this first.
Out, and that it was basically exhausted after the first couple of months. So that was my interpretation. And as I say, we can look at the GoFundMe. I stand by what we submitted to you, and as I say, I put the stuff together as fast as I could, as thorough as I could. And as transparent as I could. So
Okay.
If you want to get the nuts and bolts on the GoFundMe, I can, I think that there are people on the line who are.
All right, enough. I can't, Miss Naylor. No, I'm not going to allow you to use this as a platform to just start going off. No, stop.
So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of a preview of how this is going to go. There's one more little clip we'll play.
Oh yeah, you know what jumped out to me there was she starts off talking about her interpretation. Okay, yep. Financials don't have interpretations. Money comes in and you spend money, or you pay your taxes, or whatever. You know, it goes into your 401k. That's just accounting. There's no interpretation. Okay, so she has an interpretation mindset. That's one thing you have to understand. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. The thing that I didn't have in my PowerPoint was that apparently she submitted like a document that says, well, here's all the places the GoFundMe money went, which mm-hmm. was a total amount of expenses larger than the GoFundMe money. So it included payments they made from other sources like their own pension and Social Security money, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like all of their expenses.
Right.
So to me, it either makes sense to just give the attorney all your expenses and say, these are all the things that could potentially be linked with the GoFundMe money, because it mm-hmm. just came into an account, right? They didn't quarantine it in its own type of escrow account, right?
Yeah.
Which is maybe a problem. But the other thing you could do is literally say, okay, 124K came in and 124K went out on these line items, and you highlight so that it adds up to exactly 124K.
Sure.
They didn't do that either. They did something sort of in between. And to me, I was just like pulling my hair out, because I'm like, either give her everything and let her do it, the federal attorney, or do it yourself and do it right. Don't do something in between.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, and she also didn't have the computer in front of her with the documents on it. She didn't have a hard copy, and she was asked multiple times by Jennifer here to get her computer so that they could go over the documents, and she just like every single time pivoted or ignored it, and it was just a mess. It was a mess, and they're going to have to be deposed for 8 hours now. But let's listen to this clip, and then we'll circle back to kind of the beginning of the GoFundMe discussion and the amendments past due date. But I just wanted to show you guys a couple of the more ridiculous clips first.
That you go get your computer or whatever. I mean, you don't have hard copies of your filings in this case?
No, I stopped trying to print everything out a long time ago, because
I don't want to know why you stopped printing things out. Please, you're making this longer than it has to be. Can you pull up on your computer while you're on the phone and pull up the documents that you just filed yesterday?
Hang on a second.
We need you to do that, because you are sitting here claiming to be ignorant about documents that you've signed and filed, in this case yesterday, under oath.
I'm not claiming to be ignorant about anything.
Oh. You're saying that you don't remember, but this is something you filed yesterday. Go get your amended schedules, please.
You were asking me about what had been filed in 2025 in the Chapter 13. That was the last thing you asked me.
No, I was asking you about, I said you had to, in this case, also disclose your gross income for businesses.
All right, so we'll circle back now, but I just wanted you guys to hear how like frustrating that got along the way, and why this was so hard to cut down, because I really wanted to go over this in just like little segments to just show the interesting parts, and the whole thing is just fucking.
There's too many.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Couldn't even admit it. The thing I noticed from that clip, Lauren, is how she wants to talk about why something is the way it is, or why something happened, or why she did something a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big disconnect, because 80, 90, 95% of these questions that the attorney is asking are not why questions. They're what questions, or how much, or yes or no questions. And she should be taking advantage of the fact that if you get asked a yes or no question, you can just say yes or no and then stop talking.
She shouldn't have said so. Yeah, she should have said so much. But yeah. All right, so we're going to start here and towards the beginning where they talk about the amendments being filed the night before this or the day before this rather than by June 26th, as they knew because the judge told them, and the lawyer here has a transcript in front of her confirming as much that they understood that. And yet they continue to use the same excuse. We were looking third-party funding for a lawyer. That's not going to work anymore. It's time to face the music. It's time to kind of own your shit. And yet they're still trying to avoid it, and it's not going to go well. But I want to say thank you one more time to our friend Schnitzel Ninja. I will post a link to this video where you can listen to the whole thing all the way through without any disruptions in the comments and the description of this video, and as well to all the best research. I know these guys both work really hard to get everything to us, and so I try to alternate now between like which one I show on screen, but just know that we have two groups of people who are working really hard to help us out with this and make sure everything is transparent and out to the public. So thank you guys for that. We appreciate it. All right.
Or were docketed yesterday. You knew that the amendments were due on June 26th, right?
Yes.
I mean, you acknowledged that. I have a transcript of the hearing in front of Judge Wansley, and you expressly acknowledged that you had to have your amendments on file by June 26th. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me why, Miss Naylor or Mr. Owens, why you waited until the day before this 341 meeting to file those amendments?
The reason was because we had been attempting to hire an attorney to represent us, and we realized that we needed third-party funds in order to hire the attorney post-petition. We searched for third-party funds, and we were unable.
So I just want to point out that they said this already in front of the judge, who thought it was not a valid excuse, and she told them they needed to file this by June 26th, and yet they ignored that. These people are not clueless. They do this on purpose. And what annoys me so much is that they like pretend like they should get the benefit of the doubt on this stuff, and they've proven every single time that they shouldn't. I remember listening to one of those episodes of Love Trap that came out recently, kind of in the postseason, if you will, where they had reached out, or not reached out, but somebody reached out to them for statements, and they told, I believe it was Mercury News, that they believed their daughter was innocent. And the thing is, they know that Laura used their other daughter's photo of Ron touching their other daughter's belly and cropped the head out to make it appear as if it could be Laura. They know that she did that to fake a pregnancy. They know that she used her sister's ultrasound to fake a pregnancy. These people know what she's doing. They know what they're doing, and they know that it's wrong, and they continue to do it anyways. So this like feigned ignorance, it's very frustrating.
You know what's an interesting double standard is in this hearing. Like I said before, Jan wants to answer every question with the why. Yeah. She wants to give a long, detailed excuse, right? But just like we just heard here with the deadline for the 26th, she gives this big excuse.
Yeah.
When it comes to, was Laura pregnant? Was there proof of paternity? Was there proof of pregnancy, miscarriage, any of that? They never say why.
Yeah.
They only say, we believe her, or we believe she's innocent, right? Or we don't believe these charges. They stop and don't say why. It's an interesting comparison there.
Yeah. Well, they, I mean, they think that they can get away with this because they've gamed the system for so long. And I can only wonder what Jan was like, when she was growing up and all that, because she obviously passed some of this down to Laura, and the internet wasn't around when Jan was growing up. So she got away with some things her daughter couldn't. And I firmly believe that Clayton is correct now that, I didn't always buy into this theory, but I believe that Jan has always been kind of the instigator, the ringleader a little bit. And Laura has her own problems. She's a grown woman. She should make her own choices. She is fully responsible for her own actions and has had every opportunity to pivot and do better if she wanted to, especially after she did all that shit with Mike. She didn't have to continue to go down this path. right? But she did. She's destructive and she's hurtful on purpose, and she breaks the law on purpose. But I do believe that Jan has a lot to do with who Laura is and why we are here today. And I can only imagine what it would be like if this kind of scrutiny were present when Jan was in her, Laura years. Let's put it that way. Okay, we'll keep going here. Let me read these really quick. Jupiter James, thank you for the $5. My favorite duo. Hi, thank you. And if you guys don't know, I finally got Bruce to play Fortnite. Okay, and Bruce, Jupiter James, Patrick, and I are a Fortnite squad, and it's kind of awesome.
We're professionals.
I know, right? I was gonna stream our games on Saturday, but then I got home too late and I couldn't do it. Michelle, thank you for the 30 gems. Flower, I think it's a flower sticker. I'm not sure, but thank you, Michelle. I guess you can send like gifts like this on YouTube, which is really cool. I've never gotten one before, so thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. And thanks for being a mod. That's awesome. All right, let's continue into this.
To get that, we realize that Chapter 11 is a very difficult legal chapter to negotiate if you're not an attorney. And so it became very clear to us that we really needed to dismiss the case.
Okay, I understand that. However, did you want to say something, Mr. Owens?
No.
Okay.
No, I was starting to continue, and so it was my
hold on, I got to stop you. Hold on. Somebody has their phone unmuted because I'm hearing some background noise from another.
And I'm going to skim over this part, but there were a couple of times, at least 2 or 3 times, where she had to ask people to mute their phones.
Lots.
And I obviously don't know who that was, but guys, please mute your phones if you dial into these hearings, because it's possible that they will make them no longer public access if you don't, and that would suck for everybody who wants to listen in to the process, because this is supposed to be a publicly available hearing. But if there's so many disruptions they can't complete the meeting in a timely fashion, then that's a problem as well. So please mute your phones when you call in, okay?
It's pretty wild. Yeah, that's why I didn't call into this, because
I didn't either.
I'm super paranoid I'm gonna like unmute or not be muted.
Yeah.
And we get these audio transcripts or audio recordings a few days later anyway.
Right. Well, there were a lot of notes coming out, and that was, helpful. So I read the notes, but I didn't dial in either. I usually don't dial into these things just because it's during my workday. So, all right.
Place. I don't know what.
Let's skip ahead there.
You were explaining that the reason that you failed to timely file your schedules and statements by June 26th was because you were looking for an attorney. That's what you're basically saying?
Yes, my understanding really was that I needed an attorney to navigate this entire process the right way. And when it became apparent that we weren't going to be able to get one in time, we filed for the dismissal, and then
yeah, the judge already said that was a bunch of bullshit. Also, I see people saying here it was like Laura in the background or it was Ron in the background, and I know that because I listened to at least half of this today, and I heard that it was like Ron talking or somebody else in the house probably talking a couple times, and they swear there's no one in the house or in the room with them, and I doubt that that's true. But there was at least one time where it was like definitely another person, and I was like, don't do this.
Sure.
It's just going to make it easier. It's just going to make it easier for them to say there's people attacking us and we can't do our hearing. Like, don't make it easy for them. There was at least one time where it was definitely an outside party. So.
Yeah. But going back to this clip, Lauren, the interesting thing here, and I know I pointed out, okay, they blew past this deadline, and that blew my mind. But I think the other side of the coin of that is they're clearly just filing these Chapter 13, Chapter 11s in order to get the protection, the automatic stay protection to prevent foreclosure of their house. So this idea that, well, we have to have an attorney, like you could wait to file until you have an attorney. Of course, the risk there is you may lose your house in foreclosure in the meantime, or if you never find an attorney. So to me, it's very apparent that they're just trying to do this file dismiss as a way to put this protection stay on the foreclosure in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a little disingenuous, because it's like, if you're really trying to get your finances in order, you're really trying to do the right thing, you got to go get an attorney. You got to fill out your paperwork properly. You got to put in the effort to do it right. And I don't see that happening here.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Leanne Iverson, 1930. Thank you for the 440 gems and the 2 gems. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I didn't know what these were before today, so I'm gonna have to look that up and see how they function. But that's awesome. Thanks. All right, guys.
Was that since we filed for dismissal, that those documents were no longer going to be needed.
Okay, but there was no court order that said that you didn't need to file those documents.
No, again, I didn't understand the process.
Okay, well, you filed your motion to dismiss on the same day that the or 2 days before the documents were due. And we did have a hearing on July 1st, and you were told on July 1st that you needed to get those amendments on file, correct?
Correct.
But yet you waited until yesterday. I mean, I'm really flabbergasted that you would think that that would be appropriate time for me to go through the amended schedules, that I would only have the file stamped copies less than a full day before the 341 meeting. So you're saying, yeah, go ahead.
My understanding is that we had sent those in earlier, and the auditor in the initial debtor interview a few.
Wait, so now I thought we sent them in earlier? That's not.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Days ago already had them and was going through. In the hour-long conversation I had with her.
She might have had your unfile stamped copy, but I won't work off of a copy that you provided me that was not proven to have been filed. So in any event, we'll have to just move on, but you do acknowledge that you failed to timely file your amendments, correct?
Correct. If that's the case, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Okay. All right. So let me just ask you,
You didn't realize the deadline
you filed
was
this
a
case
deadline?
on May 22nd, have you made any mortgage payments?
No.
No. Okay. But I did notice you produced to me copies of about 18 months worth of bank statements for 8 bank accounts with Bank of America, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I did notice that 11 days after this bankruptcy was filed, you paid about $2,900 for life insurance. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Can you explain?
This gets really. I try not to be overly accusatory, but this is really weird. This part to me is like really weird. The justification for the life insurance. And I know that like they're saying like if Ron dies, we want to make sure we're taken care of, basically, but it's like they're basically saying, we're prioritizing that over our other bills, even though we're trying to save our house. We haven't paid the mortgage, but we're paying for life insurance. And I'm like, are you expecting him to croak? And I try not to, like I said, be overly accusatory, but can we acknowledge that that's maybe a little sketchy?
Well, I think the bigger context here, Lauren, and I've had to sort of think about this listening to the hearing a few times.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is these life insurance policies, if you let them lapse, you can't get the same policy again, potentially.
Okay.
At least for the same
price. I don't know
price.
anything early about that.
So it may be important to pay for a policy if you want to keep it in place, because it's sort of like pay it or you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, the mortgage is pay it or lose it eventually too, which is
I think they're probably at that point. Yeah.
And, the initial knee-jerk response is like, well, food, water, air, and shelter are the first layer of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Life insurance is probably a different layer, right? But I think in the bigger context of their financial picture, right, we talked about how their biggest equity position is maybe a horse.
Yeah.
They don't have like a 401k account or an IRA account or an E-Trade account with a bunch of money earning interest and dividends, like an investment account. They don't have equity. Okay. So if they've been paying for 30 years into a life insurance policy, and that policy is going to have a payout, or they can, take loans against it or something, they've effectively replaced the idea of an IRA, 401k, Roth with this life insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't walk up to someone and say, like, why don't you just ditch your 401k? Right. So I can sort of understand the mindset here. It's there's sides to the coin on this one.
Yeah. Well, I'll admit, like, I'm totally not well versed in this kind of stuff, and so that's what probably comes across as a little weird to me and a lot of other people who don't understand this stuff. It's to me, I'm just a little wary of Jan and Laura to the point where I'm kind of like, I don't like that. It's just because of who we're listening to. But like, yeah, there's a lot I don't understand about this. I can understand that. So, but thank you for explaining, because like I said, when it comes to these kinds of policies, and even a 401k, there's like so much.
Yeah.
So
it's not the ideal situation you would want to be in, especially after the careers that these people have had.
Yeah. All right, let me play a little more here.
Explain to me why you would do that after the case was filed, that you would pay. I mean, would you agree that that's not a necessary expense for your sustenance and living?
Well, it is, in the sense that if that's not paid and that lapses, that would be a huge issue for our living.
Well, it's not. You're not getting. It's life insurance, so nobody would get a payout until somebody dies, right?
Well, correct, with this particular policy, yes.
Okay, so I help me understand then how paying life insurance is a necessity while you're in a Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Well, because it's, I view it as something that is a necessity. Yeah.
Okay, you're saying that, but you're not getting any money currently from that life insurance policy, right? That's money that would only come to you in the event that either you or Mr. Owens passed away.
Correct, but it's been a policy for 30 years, for probably more than 30 years, so to allow it to lapse would seem to be not a very responsible decision.
Okay, but you think that it was more important to pay life insurance instead of your mortgage on your home you're living in?
That's kind of where I'm getting at. I'm like, there's so much more stuff that they have to pay for right now, to where I'm like, but then again, you did explain the insurance policy. If it lapses, you can't.
I think my problem is this life insurance payment is $3,000.
Right.
Okay. And as we discussed earlier in my list, they had an 18-month period where $500,000 left.
Yeah.
Is there something better in that $500,000 that should have gone to their mortgage?
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, that sort of makes the life insurance policy irrelevant.
Okay. What? Wait. Okay. One more time. Explain that.
So the life insurance policy is a $3,000 payment for the
Correct.
year, right? But they spent $500,000. $3,000 out of $500,000 is not a lot fractionally, right? So what else is in that $500,000 that probably should have gone to their mortgage to save their house that did not? That's my question. They bring in $21,000 a month, and yet they can't pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
The fundamental question is why? And again, this is another why that we don't get from Jan and Ron. We don't get the why, like, where did the money go?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why do you believe Laura was pregnant with Clayton's twins? These are the important whys. They want to spend time on the unimportant whys.
All right, let me.
Well, the issue with regard to the mortgage, as I say, we have been trying to deal with the mortgage company for quite a while. We have had different violations, and the $2,900 that we paid to the life insurance would not have done anything with regard to saving the home. It just wouldn't have been enough money to save the home.
No, but it's something that you could have made that kind of payment to show some kind of good faith effort to try to pay your mortgage.
Would a good faith effort have stopped the foreclosure? I don't think so, right?
No, but I think there are cases where if you are, at least in chapter 13, I guess, where you're restructuring, a good faith effort goes a long way. I don't know about chapter 11. Tiff would have to answer that question. Definitely not in 7 if they convert to 7. But here's the thing. We find out later in this, they paid their own daughter $21,000, right? That was in my list too. So why didn't they put that towards the mortgage? That's way more than $3,000 for a life insurance policy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to me, there's bigger questions than the life insurance question.
Gotcha.
But you opted instead to pay life insurance, right?
No, I disagree with that from the standpoint that if you had seen the statements that we were getting from the mortgage company, we were getting statements indicating that the only thing that would save the house would be to make a full payment of the arrears, or alternatively, a full monthly payment of the amount that was due. There was absolutely no indication that $2,900 would have gone anywhere to save the home. And as I say, at that point also, the home was scheduled for a foreclosure auction anyhow for, I believe it was July the 28th. So it didn't seem like a $2,900 payment would have, done anything at all to save the house at that point. And we also, again, had been dealing with the mortgage company. We had just sent them a letter about a notice of error and issues that we were bringing up to them. So it was, the mortgage issues were in dispute at that point.
I sincerely doubt that there was an error with the mortgage company. I think people use every excuse in the book. But, they're probably correct that the $2,900 payment would not have saved their home. So, I don't know.
I mean, it's funny because
I guess there's different rules. You can't just pay random stuff that you want and not pay your creditors.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She seems surprised that the mortgage company is like, you owe us all this back payment plus the current payment. We suggest you pay it. She seems sort of surprised by that. And I'm like, that's how it works. You're supposed to pay your bill. What's happening here?
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you know whether the foreclosure is going to proceed? I believe it's at the end of July.
We were notified after we brought up our concerns with regard to the violations that we believe have happened in terms of the mortgage. We were notified that they have pushed out the foreclosure auction to September the 29th. And our hope is that we will be able to reach some sort of a resolution before then.
Okay. All right. I'm going to turn now. I want to talk to you about the GoFundMe account or whatever you call it, I guess, GoFundMe account that you set up. Or, well, let me ask you, are you the person that set up that GoFundMe page for Mr. Owens?
The GoFundMe was the idea of friends of ours who knew that we were really in a difficult situation at that point and suggested that based on the goodwill and the tremendous support and following that my husband has had over the years, that it would be a good thing to reach out to people who might want to help.
Okay. And so who's the person that authored the request for the donations on GoFundMe? Who wrote that?
That was initially authored by someone who was a friend who at the last minute decided once they were really aware of what was going on with the smear campaign against us, did not want their name attached to it.
Well,
so I have admitted.
Okay, so the smear campaign is just people talking openly about her daughter's not federal, but a felony indictment, indictments plural, so, and you know, like talking about the way that they've manipulated and abused the legal system. She has committed crimes and abused people, so that's not a smear campaign. Smear campaign is like a cop out people use now to signal, you know, you would be like, oh, you know, don't pay attention to that. It's nonsense. But no, this is not a smear campaign. It's factual. There is a criminal case ongoing. Their daughter is, you know, I guess she today requested a continuance for the trial date for what until October. So, but it's still very much a thing. And this is not a smear campaign. They wouldn't be in bankruptcy if people were not being honest, if they were smearing them about the things they use their finances for and the things that they've done. Their daughter wouldn't be facing 14 charges if that was a lie and she hadn't done what people said she did. So I don't know. It's everybody else is lying or they're lying, and they're the ones who are not being totally honest during this meeting.
Yeah.
And the documents they filed. So,
and I think, again, whenever you talk about these words in isolation, these labels like cult or smear campaign,
right.
These labels, when the labels don't have any substance behind them,
Mm-hmm.
like, well, okay, who is smearing you? Is it the Sun tabloid? Is it a different tabloid or something? What did they say?
Yeah.
Can we refute what they said? Because if the Sun tabloid writes a smear article about Clayton,
yeah,
we can go look at it. We can say, no, he didn't, hook up with this New York girl. No, it doesn't seem like there's proof that he impregnated this person with twins. Like, we can refute it through analyzing it. But notice how Jan, Ron, and Laura will avoid that level of depth when it comes to talking about a cult or a smear campaign or something they don't want to have to prove with an actual deep dive.
Right. You know, if David were still around, I'm sure he would name people for them. But he's not, so we leave him alone these days. Leanne Iverson, thank you for the 67 gems. I appreciate that. Let's see. Pam James, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much for being here. Susan Stead, thank you for the 30 gems. And Vibe Flux World, thank you for the 2 gems. Appreciate that. And Rachel, thank you for the 200 gems. That's awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. All right, we're gonna keep playing here.
I have administered the funds. The funds were going into my husband's account, and I administered them going to pay the bills after that.
Okay, so, but I need to know the name of the person who authored the GoFundMe donation request.
Well, I'm the one who posted it.
Well, I asked who authored it. Who's the person that chose these words? Who wrote it?
It was the work of friends of ours who had said.
Well, you said it was one friend that doesn't want to be involved, and I'm sorry, but I need to know his name. What's his name?
Well, then go ahead and say it was me because I posted it.
That wasn't.
No, I'm not.
Oh my gosh, Lauren.
Miss Owens, you already testified.
So note how easy it would be to say, my friend authored it.
It was Bob.
My friend authored it. My friend wrote it, and they want to be anonymous. I have to keep them anonymous. If you have a memory in your mind, this is Jack Fox moment. You have a memory in your mind of the thing that happened. Her friend wants to be anonymous and wrote this draft.
Right.
That's an easy story to tell. My friend wrote it, gave it to me. They want to be anonymous. That's the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But she's searching and searching and searching for words to try and figure out how to tell this story that, to me, doesn't seem to be a memory in her mind.
Yeah.
She's trying to create a narrative as she goes along here because her original answer wasn't good enough. So if the reality is that she wrote it herself from the start, or Laura wrote it and gave it to Jan, and she just doesn't want to say that, this is the winding path she would be taking to try and not tell the truth completely about it, right? So to me, this whole conversation is a big red flag.
Fake Laura Owens, thank you for $2, says, because mommy and I are friends. Oh, man. Okay.
I'm saying it was people who were friends of ours had said, this is what you should do.
I understand.
And then, as I say, at the okay, well,
But,
I'm
no, you said that you indicated that there was one individual who wrote out this request for the donations, and that after drafting it, that person did not want to be associated any longer with the GoFundMe due to what you call a smear campaign. I need to know the name of that. Yeah. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. I need to know the name of the individual who wrote this donation request. I know you're trying to resist it. I know that person doesn't want to be involved, but they are involved. So you need to give me the name of the individual, please.
Well, I finalized it. I'm the one that finalized it. This was informal.
Lady, nobody asked you who finalized it. Just answer the fucking question.
These were informal conversations about what should be said, and I finalized it, and it was informal conversations with, more than one friend who suggested it. So I finalized it. I posted it.
Okay, so you're not going to give me the name of that individual, is that correct?
Well, because it was,
I don't want to know why. I'm asking.
Yes or no?
Are you going to give me the individual's name? Yes or no? That you said that originally authored this.
Oh.
I'm saying put it on me. I'm saying I'm the one that posted it. I finalized it.
But that's not.
I posted it.
But that's not what you said. You originally said somebody else drafted it, and my question to you is: are you going to give me the name of the person that you testified a few moments ago initially drafted this donation request? Are you going to give me that name? Yes or no?
I said that there were informal conversations. I finalized it. That there were informal conversations, and at the last minute, it was like, no, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't.
You already said that.
I can't put my family out to be targeted by these people.
So who was that?
Okay, so if that were true, I can't imagine people would target that person's family. I mean, the internet is really crazy. I'm not gonna lie, there are people who go too far. So it's not a total impossibility, but I don't see people attacking the people who donated to Ronn's GoFundMe, for example. Like, they don't go after people like that. You know what I mean? Like, people criticizing you for your family's behavior and crimes is not the same as, like, randomly attacking and threatening random families. Like, that's just not, I don't know. That's not really a thing. So,
yeah. I mean, to me, okay, just say no. You're not going to give her the name. Like, that's fine. That's a perfectly reasonable answer. Just cut to the chase. Tell the truth. If there was somebody who wrote this draft of this GoFundMe text and you don't want to say who did it, then just say, I know who did it. I'm not going to tell you. And you're done. Instead, she's constantly going back to this. Here's, I was having informal conversations. Like, okay, like, what does that mean? Like, informal. Like, she's trying to use informal instead of formal so that maybe a lawyer will be like, oh, it's informal. That means I'm not supposed to access it. Like, she's hunting for something like that. She's searching with all these verbs and all these rambling statements to get something that will make this questioning line stop. Right. And she just can't.
No. Dima, thank you for the 35. So happy to see you. Lauren, as always, thank you for the amazing work you do. You guys are the best. Oh, thank you very much. Good to see you here. Thank you. Fake Laura Owens, thank you for $2. Sarah is our friend also. Oh, okay. I mean, somebody in the family may have authored that for sure. For sure.
That person that said that to you.
I finalized it.
No, who was that person? Who was that person? Hold on, let me finish. Who was the individual that said to you, I don't want to be a part of this? Who was that?
I
pick one.
Don't want to give their name because, as I say, these were informal conversations. I was the one who finalized it. I'm taking full responsibility. These were informal conversations.
Miss DOJ, this happened on Snapchat.
With people who said, these are the things that we ought to say, and this is what will touch people. But I finalized it. I posted it, and I have administered the funds.
Right. But the reason that I'm asking for this, Miss Owens, is because it's important to understand what the intent was when this was drafted. And you initially said that family friend drafted this, but it's apparent to me that you are not going to give me the name of that person. So I'm going to move on.
Thank God.
But you are now saying that you're going to take full responsibility for the drafting and posting of this GoFundMe post and request for donations, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you then. You tell me, what was the specific purpose of, and I need specifics. Don't give me generalities. I want to know the specific purpose. What specific money were you looking to raise for what specific purpose from the GoFundMe?
To get caught up on our mortgage at that point and to pay down credit card bills and to cover our expenses. We were at a point where I think we had just very, very little in the bank account, very little. It was a bad situation.
Okay, so the posting mentions profound challenges arising from medical struggles suffered by Mr. Owens, correct?
I don't have the post here. I don't have it. So
all this lady has to do is walk over, get her laptop, and come back. And she was asked to do that a bunch of times during this hearing. I don't think we've heard it yet, but she's going to be.
She needs a laptop, Lauren.
She won't do it. Yeah.
Lauren, did you know you can get laptops at Macy's?
Oh my God. Is that true? You think?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true.
You can.
Really?
You can get a Dell or HP.
I didn't know they had a electronics department at Macy's.
At least on the internet.
All right. If you say so, I'll take your word for it. I've only ever bought,
I'm just saying, she doesn't have a lot of excuses for not having a laptop sitting there. $21K a month is coming in. She can't get a MacBook Neo or something or whatever, a Dell. Hey, dude, I got a Dell.
Yeah, well, I'm confused as to why she can't walk her ass to the other room, grab it, and come back. But, she continued to pivot from that. So
I'm relying on you to quote it.
Well, no. You just said you were going to take full responsibility for what was said in there and posting it. It's still up on the GoFundMe. You're aware of that, right?
Right.
Okay. So
that was a long
on
pause.
your computer right now, are you able to pull it up while you're talking to me?
I don't have my computer with me right now.
All right.
No, I'm not in a situation where I have a computer.
Okay, so as the person who authored and is 100% responsible for the posting of this donation request, do you recall that the post referenced Mr. Owens' extreme medical troubles?
Yes.
Okay. So do you agree that the suggestion from this post was that you needed money to cover medical bills?
No, that was not. It was simply saying that he had extreme medical struggles and that there were financial struggles as well. They were not tied together. It was simply saying that there were that he'd had all of these medical issues, and on top of that was dealing with financial issues as well.
Okay, because
I don't think there's nothing in there that specifically says it was for medical bills.
Well, it doesn't say that, but it does say, and I will quote you, today, Ron is facing profound challenges. After living with Parkinson's disease for 30 for 23 years, his health battles have intensified. He has courageously faced not only Parkinson's, but also 4 bouts with cancer, most recently colon cancer, and serious heart issues. Now, this is the very important part here, Miss Naylor. These medical struggles have taken a toll, both physically and financially, on the man who has been a pillar of strength for so many.
There we go.
So you see how I tie the medical struggles to the financial? Because you say it right there.
It appears that they are struggling financially because of his medical conditions is the problem, I think.
That's what they make it sound like.
Right, exactly.
Even if that's not correct.
Right, yeah.
It's hard to say. But, yeah, it definitely has that appearance.
Since they paid, according to their own accounting, like $200 in medical bills versus what they were getting in income, I'm going to say that that was a straight up lie. But, you know, they may have worded it technically to the point that they could. I don't know. Legally, I can't say. I have no experience in this
who
area.
knows? And a lot of times these legal things are gray areas. Like if you got to put it in front of a judge on a bench trial or a jury, and the jury has to decide. And the reason I think it was interesting, we looked at the comments on the GoFundMe, was that there were people in there talking about their own medical struggles or the medical struggles of healthcare in America or Ronn's medical struggles. So clearly that language is impacting people who are donating to the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So even if they didn't literally say, hey, I have a GoFundMe for a medical bill, here's the bill, the implication is resonating with people who are writing comments in there, and that may be enough for a judge or jury.
Right. So like you said, it's like legally a gray area, but morally it's a very black area. You don't do that. That's fucked up. But legally, yes, probably a gray area. So
these medical struggles have taken a toll both physically and financially. So what did you mean by that when you put that in the donation request?
Well, we have had, you know, he hasn't been able to work, so he hasn't been able to do, you know, financially support the family. So, yeah.
I mean, he's retired. So,
Lauren, together they have $21,000 coming in a month from pensions and Social Security, but she wants him to work for more money than that.
Apparently.
She's sitting here telling this federal attorney, my 80-year-old husband can't get a job to make more than $21,000 a month because that's what we need.
Yeah, that's
Can you believe this?
I mean, that's absurd. But like, also, this is not new. He's been retired for a while. Like, this is not new information that he can't work or he's not working. This is something that's been going on, and they still make more than most Americans make.
Yeah, he shouldn't need to. That's the point.
Right. And so their income is absurd. Like anybody, like most anybody could live off of what they're getting and be absurdly happy and fulfilled and have basically anything they want, save for like exorbitant, ridiculous stuff like a private jet. You know what I mean? But like, you know, anybody would be able to live off of that, except for these people apparently. And it's because they are enabling their daughter's crimes and putting themselves into debt over doing workarounds to pay lawyers to defend her now from 14 felony charges. And like all these lawyers over the years that they've spent time after time after time after time. And Laura spending all this money trying to convince, you know, everybody that she's some wealthy, successful CEO when she's admitted now that she's never had a job, never had a paying job in her life. It just, like all kinds of absurd gymnastics going on here. And this is not a very flexible family. So that's why they're failing at this. So.
There is that.
Okay, so you're saying that as a result of these medical struggles, it took a toll on Mr. Owens financially to the point where you're saying he couldn't support.
Also, bitch, why don't you get a job? Laura is apparently Ron's full-time caretaker. Why don't you get a job? Just saying.
The family.
Well, yes. I mean, that's part of it, but it.
Okay, but at the time that this was posted, Mr. Owens and you were collecting at least $14,000 a month in pension income, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So let me ask you, were there any specific medical bills that you intended to be able to pay using GoFundMe funds?
Not that I recall, but again, the way that it was phrased, the way that I recall it being phrased, it was not indicating that this was to pay for medical bills. It was that we had financial struggles as well.
So what you mentioned earlier is that you wanted,
but this was also months before. This was 8 months before we filed for Chapter 13. This was to help us to try to avoid having to file for bankruptcy because we were in that kind of a difficult situation.
That's such a crazy thing to say.
Let me just back up. Laura. You mentioned that.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Because they know that in bankruptcy, the bankruptcy looks back several years. So this idea that something was some number of months before they filed for 13 or 11, that's irrelevant. And they should know this. Like this sort of weaponized incompetence runs through this whole thing. It's, oh my gosh. And see, again, did you catch the red flag of the label of financial struggles?
Right.
Like, what does that mean?
Well, I mean,
it doesn't say where the money went.
It's the implied meaning is obviously medical bill struggles.
No.
That's not what they mean.
She's saying we didn't have any medical bills at the time we got the GoFundMe money, but we had financial struggles. Well, what the hell is a financial struggle? It's just rhetoric. It's like a cult or a smear campaign. It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing substantive there to explain. So note when they use labels to avoid saying why.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. Like she and Jennifer at some point in this hearing will, I think we heard the clip earlier that I played where she says, you're making this longer than it needs to be. I don't need to hear why you didn't print something. Like she's going off and off trying to distract from the actual issue, which is that she's fucked.
Who's paying for all this printer ink, Lauren?
Dude, the GoFundMe. I don't know.
The GoFundMe funds you intended to use to pay your mortgage and pay credit card bills and get out of debt. That's what you just said a few moments ago, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So basically, what you're really telling me is that you were using the GoFundMe to clear yourself of debt. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we said financial struggles.
But you were using
in the Go.
But so what you're saying
financial stuff,
right? Right, but I'm asking, really, what you were doing was using GoFundMe to clear yourself of debt. You just said that, right?
We were using it to try to avoid foreclosure, to try to get caught up on our mortgage, to try to pay bills for financial struggles. Yes, that's what.
Yeah, I didn't see that anywhere in that GoFundMe description. So that's not being transparent about that is kind of a problem. They don't need to, also with their huge income, even if they have this mountain of debt, they don't need to live in their house and have all these ponies and shit like that and pay for their adult daughter. Like they can make her get a job, right, and pay rent, and they can downsize to a smaller place and they can get rid of the ponies. You don't have to do all this. But they wanted to live this lavish lifestyle as long as they could. Also, I want to point out Jennifer Cottrell 71 says TMI, but I'm actually disabled. They spend more in a month than I eke out in over a year. I realize that's real life, but they make me angry. Jennifer, I don't think that's TMI at all. I think that's unfortunately the reality for a lot of people. And I'm sorry that you have to witness these people abusing the system this way. It's terrible, but I don't think that's TMI. I appreciate the input. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think everybody that's going through, like a lot of channels have already gone through the entire hearing, right?
Yeah.
And done commentary. And I think you can feel the frustration. And part of that frustration is recognizing exactly what Jennifer is saying here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
GoFundMe is for.
Well, typically, isn't it used to help people pay ongoing bills that they need to be able to pay, to pay rent and to pay for groceries? Hold on. Somebody is on the line. Is there somebody with you in the room, Ms. Naylor, behind you that is talking?
Absolutely not.
Okay. It's just
Well, I doubt that.
Chase
Yeah.
J. Jones.
No, Chase J. Jones is in the room. Chase J. Jones is just Laura.
Tag.
I don't know if I can't say for certain, but I suspect that she is in the room with them. Yes. That's why I said, like, some of these interruptions were certainly from their end, but they're going to pretend that they weren't. So.
Just you, the two of you? Okay. I need everybody to mute their phones. So everybody listen. You need to mute your phones.
We had a chat. Just in case.
This might be the one that was coming from her office, actually.
Point
Yeah, she
is
talked.
that you were saying that you wanted to pay past debt, including credit card debt, right?
Well, yeah, because if the credit cards weren't paid, we wouldn't have, the opportunity to continue to pay for food and basic expenses.
Well, Mike, for example, one of the credit cards that you deemed it necessary to generate funds from a donation through GoFundMe was Macy's. You thought it was essential to get donations to pay your Macy's bill?
No discount pants.
I'm asking, no. But hold on. You have to answer my questions, Miss Naylor. I am asking you, did you think it was necessary?
Legit.
The answer is yes.
That's where I get all my fits too. But like you don't Macy's and Walmart are like that's my fashion statement.
Look, Lauren, do you ever watch
you don't GoFundMe for
Do you ever watch the Macy's Day Parade, Thanksgiving Parade?
Yeah, of course.
If you don't pay your Macy's credit card bill, those parade guys are going to come and put a big balloon in your front yard. And you don't want that. They might threaten you a little with the balloon. You got to pay that first.
There's going to be a Macy's parade float foreclosure.
Yeah. You'd be embarrassed. It's a business expense, Lauren, because you can't have the Macy's parade balloons on your front lawn. You got to pay that first.
This is going to result in emotional damage somehow. All right.
To ask for donations through GoFundMe to pay a Macy's credit card bill?
We didn't ask for donations to GoFundMe to pay a Macy's bill. No, we did not.
However, that's what you used. Hold on. However, you admit that you used GoFundMe funds to partially pay a Macy's credit card bill.
No.
No?
We had pension and Social Security money. We had pension and Social Security money that also came in that month that would have been used to pay a Macy's bill of whatever it would have been. I have no idea what it would have been, but not a sizable amount. We did have pension and Social Security money that would have paid for that, and we did not ask for GoFundMe money to pay a Macy's bill. No.
Okay, well, do you recall last week providing me with a document entitled Accounting of GoFundMe Funds?
Yes.
And who drafted that?
I did.
Okay. So, and that was just last week that you gave that to me, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, on item number 3, I don't know if you have a copy of it in front of you, but item number 3, and you can look at this after we're done, but item number 3 says, itemized list of, quote, necessities payments for the calendar year 2025. Do you recall having listed that in your accounting of the GoFundMe funds?
Yes.
And one of the credit cards that you list here as being a necessity, you made 10 payments to Macy's. It's on your GoFundMe accounting. Are you denying now that you used GoFundMe funds to pay a Macy's bill when that's what you said in the accounting you gave me last week?
I was being transparent in terms of showing you what monies had gone out of our main checking account and what they had gone to pay for. If I hadn't included that we had paid Macy's bills, that would have been incorrect. But did we ask for GoFundMe money for Macy's? No. Did we have Social Security and pension income that had covered that? Yes.
Well,
so I was trying to be very transparent in terms of showing exactly everything that had been paid out of our account. And
this is the part where at the beginning I was talking about how they didn't say exactly, 126 comes in from GoFundMe, 126 goes out, line items. Or you say, here's everything under the sun. We also got some GoFundMe money. These are their two options. They take this weird third option, which is like, here's some statements that are slightly more than the GoFundMe money. Some of it's GoFundMe, but some of it's pensions. I'm not going to tell you which is which. So they don't really answer the question, right?
They did, but they didn't. I mean, they did, like, under oath, they signed off on this, right? But then when they're being questioned, they don't. So it's kind of like, I'm not sure that's quite good enough. If you swore under oath and you filed this yesterday, I think that you kind of at this point are screwed. But, also
legally, I think the moment you commingle the GoFundMe money into the same account that also receives your pension and Social Security money, and then you start paying bills, you can legally make the argument that the GoFundMe money paid for any of these bills.
Right. Yeah.
Because you didn't quarantine, you didn't set up an escrow account to just spend the GoFundMe money in a very specific way.
Right.
So this is all just chaos.
I am going to take a bathroom break, but I'm going to let this play while I go. Hang on, let me...
Oh, boy. How long are we going to go here tonight, Lauren?
Where are we at right now? 31:23. Yeah, we're not going to go too much longer, I don't think. Maybe the next 20 minutes or so.
Very good.
We'll see, because I don't want to go past 9:30. So, all right. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to let this play while I go, though.
Everything that had gone in.
Well, that's actually incorrect, because I have your bank statements, and there was a lot more money going out than the payments that you list on the GoFundMe accounting. You picked specific payments in your accounting of the GoFundMe funds that added up to $144,000. So you did not itemize all the payments that went out of all of your accounts, correct?
No, I thought, you had said that it would be difficult for you to try to look at all of those. I had tried to give you absolutely everything and be as transparent as possible.
I understand that's what you were trying to do, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you gave me a document titled Accounting of GoFundMe Funds, and included in the list of necessities are 10 payments to Macy's that you included as an account on the accounting of the GoFundMe funds. Are you denying now that you used GoFundMe funds to pay Macy's bills?
I am telling you that it was an attempt to be transparent as to what had gone out from our main account over 10 months or however long it was. Again, if we did have pension and Social Security money coming in, that certainly would have covered the GoFundMe.
But that was not but you didn't itemize all disbursements from your account in this accounting, did you?
I believe we did. We gave you everything.
No.
We gave you the statements for.
I'm talking about the document that you gave me called Accounting of GoFundMe Funds. You gave me that document last week, correct?
Correct.
And you start off by saying GoFundMe made 151 payouts totaling about $132,000. Use of funds, summary use of funds. And you list a summary how payments were $66,000 was paid to the first and second mortgage. $47,000 were paid to credit cards and consumer loans. And then you itemize how that $47,000 was calculated. And it included in that are Macy's payments. So according to your accounting, the Macy's was part of the way that you used the GoFundMe funds.
Well, again, then you would have to separate that from the pension and Social Security money that we had coming in.
Well, we are.
That's what you were supposed to do in
fact,
the
according
first
to your
place.
own accounting, this is you use this accounting to show exact who. Hello.
Hello.
We're here.
Who's that? Is that Mr. Owens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying we're here.
Okay, I heard you say that's good, and then make another comment. What's up?
No, I'm saying Jan was complaining. So she gave the attorney, here's the deal. She gave the attorney a document that adds up to expenditures of $144,000. The GoFundMe coming in at the time was $132,000. So 144 minus 132 is this error in this document. And Jan is sitting here like, well, that error amount is paid for by their income, right? The pension and the Social Security money. Okay. But the problem is, and then she says, well, you just have to separate it out. And it's like, well, you're the one who's supposed to, you should have separated out so that 128 coming in equals 128 going out, or whatever the number is, right? But they didn't do that. And then it's funny because she says, well, that we tried to be transparent and give you everything, right? As if the 144 is everything, but we know the 144 is not everything.
Right. Yeah.
And the other thing is that Jan and Ron don't understand is that the feds already have everything. They will look at all of your accounts before they even call into this meeting and talk to you about what's in your accounts.
There will be no secrecy.
The feds already know how much came in and how much went out, and they're going to ask you questions about that. And if your questions don't match what they already know, you are in big trouble.
No, the feds are going to probe you like a colonoscopy. It's going to be bad. Boring tax lady says, is it wrong that I like listening to Jan squirm? First of all, boring tax lady is an interesting screen name.
I love it.
Second, maybe you could help them with their taxes because they seem to be having some problems. And third, I don't necessarily think it's bad that you feel that way. I think that when you see people abusing systems for so long, especially in a way that is emotionally abusive and used to hurt people, innocent people, and enable their daughter to do so, I think that it is perfectly reasonable to be satisfied by that. I think that I am trying these days not to be as explicit and celebratory in other people's pain. Let's put it that way, even if they're terrible people. But I can't say that I disagree with that feeling. So somebody says that what you heard was Bruce trying to do logic while you were out of the room. That's like that. It's like literally.
Apparently, there will be no logic here. I mean, to be real, that's a good point, Lauren, because this is crazy. They get $21K from this pension and Social Security from storied careers, and they're in their second bankruptcy. And their daughter was in bankruptcy, and she's in criminal court now.
That was after Laura claimed she was making, as a CEO of businesses and stuff, like a crazy amount of money with her mom.
Yeah.
On these businesses in the last couple of years, and now they're like, we're not really getting that. So it's embarrassing.
This is a sad story, and I know people are like, "Oh, I want to see charges and jail time or prison time or whatever," but these people have no equity. They have no income other than these pensions and Social Security, and it doesn't cover their expenditures and debts. They're in huge amounts of debt, and they have no equity. And Laura doesn't have a job. She's in criminal court. They are putting themselves in a prison of their own making, and that's very sad.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel, just as on a human level, sometimes it's hard not to feel like something is sad or like you feel bad about it, because it's like by default, most of us, and I believe most people, are inherently decent people, even though a lot of people would disagree with that. But I think most people by default feel empathy and sympathy for these kinds of situations, regardless of who they're looking at. So it takes an exceptional amount of shittiness to override that and get people to think this is what they deserve and this is what we're looking at now, and we're okay with this. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at, though. So I gotta say, I mean, I felt, you know, when I heard about the foreclosure, I felt bad for my initial response was I felt bad for Ron being a sick, you know, older man, retired in his 80s. And I couldn't bring myself to be happy about that. Let's put it this way. But overall, like listening to this woman speak, Elizabeth Naylor, Jan Owens Black, whoever the fuck she is today, listening to her speak, I feel like frustrated and I feel like this has to happen. So at the same time, I think it's justified in a way that makes me feel less bad.
Yeah.
About what's going on.
There has to be accountability for individuals' actions. And I agree with Chad. This is to me, this is a sad situation.
Mm-hmm.
The people that have done bad things need to be held accountable for those bad things. And we can separate those two things intellectually.
I agree. And when I think about Mike and Danielle a lot when I watch this stuff, and I know this has nothing to do with Mike's case technically, but like at the same time, it's like everything that happened to Mike, everything that happened to Greg, and then to Clayton eventually amounted to this. And so in some small way, this is a bit of a justice for them. I know they're not technically getting any sort of reparations for the damage that was caused. This is not technically a criminal case against the parents, but it is a small bit of justice. I feel like for the men who were hurt by this family abusing their financial resources and their relative fame in the Bay Area for Mike to hurt them. So, all right, let me hit the play.
Okay, do you have something you want to add?
No.
Would you have something you want to say, Mr. Owens?
No, nothing.
Okay, I heard somebody speak.
Because there was somebody else that wasn't us speaking on the line just a minute ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me just tell
you. That was Ron. That was Ron speaking. So.
Well, she said a minute ago.
A minute ago, though, there wasn't any outside voices a minute ago. So, like, this is why it's like, I agree that sometimes people join the call unmuted and that's frustrating. Okay. Mm-hmm. But some of the times that's happened, I don't think they're telling the truth because that right there
phones picking each other up and stuff.
Ron speaking. Yeah. So I think that was dishonest, but that's all I can really say about that.
I'll tell you though, when you gave me this accounting of GoFundMe funds, I do want to note, according to your own accounting, only $243,000 of the over $132,000 of GoFundMe funds was used to pay medical copays, according to your accounting, correct?
Wait, you said 243,000?
No, 200. I'm looking at your accounting, and I think you need to look at your accounting with me so that we're on the same page here. And if you can't do that, then I'm going to have you come in for a full deposition, and I'll use these as exhibits and have them in front of you. I'm giving you the opportunity now to avoid that. If you could pull up your own accounting that you sent me.
There will be no avoiding.
I'm going to have to go get my computer.
Lauren, you're muted. There will be no avoidance.
And everything.
Oh.
All right, then we'll.
Sorry, I just said no, there will not be any avoidance. Not after all this. They've gone too far. It's too late. You went too far.
We will do that.
Okay, why don't you just explain to me again? This was all stuff that was before this was 8 months before we even filed for Chapter 13. So I'm a little unclear as to why.
Why does that matter? Why does she think that matters?
Except for the smear campaign that was been hounding on this. I'm unclear.
What?
Oh, fuck off, you clown. All right. So like, I'm trying really hard to be a little more composed these days when it comes to this stuff. But like, sometimes they're just so stupid. I can't help it. Like, the system unfortunately enables a lot of stupid people like this. And I'm just like, fuck off. Fuck off.
I mean, what was the smear campaign doing? The smear campaign, which is the court
obviously
of
spending
opinion.
their money at Macy's.
No.
I mean,
Here's the thing, Lauren. let's say the smear campaign is just the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion was speculating, are they using this GoFundMe money to pay for criminal defense attorneys? Okay. That's the smear campaign in essence, right?
Yeah.
They have admitted on this call to commingling GoFundMe income into their main account that also gets their pension and Social Security.
Right.
And they have admitted on this call to paying Laura's first criminal defense attorney, even though they say they don't know who's paying for the second one, but they admitted to paying for the first one. So doesn't this call just confirm the hypothesis of the court of public opinion, or the quote unquote smear campaign that she's complaining about?
Apparently, yeah. But
I don't know. She's using labels to obfuscate substance again.
oh my God. Somebody says smear campaign was accusing the family of doing things they actually did and lying about stuff they actually lied about. Yeah, Kathleen.
That's a good way to summarize what I just said.
Right.
Clear as to why, after 11.
All right, somebody needs to mute their phone, and please repeat. It's very annoying for the people that are on here. If you want to be a part of this, you need to mute your phone.
I'm unclear as to why, after 11.
It's so that was a little muffled in the background. It's possible that was coming from their end. I'm not positive though. So.
All right, somebody needs to mute their phone, and please repeat. It's very annoying for the people that are on here. If you want to be a part of this, you need to mute your phone. Say that again, Miss Owens, because I didn't hear you.
No, I was saying I just am unclear as to what this was 8 months before we filed for Chapter 13. This was an attempt to avoid having to file for bankruptcy. And I'm just unclear as to what it has to do with the Chapter 11. I'm just seriously, I'm just asking, excepting for the fact that that this online smear campaign has been hounding this and trying to, they've tried to hound every aspect of our lives. So
okay,
I just don't know what it has to do with Chapter 11.
I understand.
It was
right.
A year and a half before Chapter 11.
I understand that you'd like to think it's not relevant, but it is, and I don't have time, and it's not appropriate really for me to kind of advise you on the relevance, the legal relevance of determining the disposition of the GoFundMe funds. But we can go back to the medical. I mean, I'm just looking at your own accounting, and it says that medical copays were of the $132,000 that you received from GoFundMe, only $243 went to medical copays, according to your own accounting. Do you recall putting that in your accounting that you gave me last week?
That again sounded like Ron in the background, kind of stuttering there.
Yes, and it probably was more than that. That was what I could come up with, at the last minute. Again, I was putting this together without the help of an attorney and putting it together very quickly. And again, the GoFundMe did not say that it was for medical bills. It did not say that. It said because of financial struggles.
Okay. Well,
she's going to repeat that over and over again, and it still means nothing. I mean, I have a comment here from Camille that says, Lauren, could you please have Bruce the Moose tell us how he really feels? I'm a little confused at how he feels about this whole situation.
I'm confused myself most of the time, so
Yeah.
That's fair. It's fair.
All right. Well, how would you summarize your thoughts so far in 2 sentences?
What?
If you had to summarize your thoughts so far on this proceeding in 2 sentences, what would you say?
I can give you one word: chaos. This is chaos.
Fair enough. There you go.
Anyway, you have my top 10 list.
Yeah, that's true. And Benny the dog, thank you for the 10 gems. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, and we'll keep going here a little bit.
are you saying that I can't rely on the accounting that you provided me? That it's not accurate?
I'm saying that I am human. I am not an attorney. I did the very best to be as transparent as possible. It seems to me very obvious from the GoFundMe deposits it seemed very easy to
my
see
gosh.
where the GoFundMe money then was transferred into our main checking account and then went to pay.
It's so
to pay
easy.
bills.
Okay.
And that it was exhausted in the first couple of months. I think the issue has been that people are thinking that somehow there was money left over from GoFundMe that we're hiding, and it seems to me very.
I don't think they're hiding any money. I think they spent it on things that they were not supposed to spend it on. Yeah.
It's very clear they have expenditures that went out that are more than what they're bringing in.
I do personally, I think they have money hidden. I don't think it's the GoFundMe money. I don't think they have the GoFundMe money hidden. I think they spent that. I don't think that they have that hidden, but I think they do have money hidden. Yes.
They could. We just don't know.
The payments out to their daughters, which I believe are used on things they were not supposed to spend them on, and they tried to circumvent that on purpose. That's just my opinion, my speculation, but that is my thought there.
I mean, and here's the difference. Here's where Jan gets it wrong. If we sit here and we say, they get $21K a month, they could take a little bit of that, turn it into cash or gold or silver, bury it in a box in the backyard. Like, these are all things they could do. I'm not saying they are doing this. I'm not even saying I have high confidence that they've done it or that it's my opinion that they've done it. I'm just saying we don't have evidence either way. It's just something theoretically possible.
Yeah.
And so she goes into this meeting and she's like, well, there's these nebulous people that think we're doing XYZ. Who are these people? And when did they say they think that's what you're doing? Like, she never gets into the substance again. Just answer the question, right? Like she says, I'm human and I'm not an attorney. What she should say is I'm human. I'm not an accountant, because that's what you really need here. You need an accountant, not an attorney, like understands law, but an attorney is going to go get you an accountant. Probably. I don't know. You need an accountant. And she's saying, I'm human. I did this at the last second. So you have to give me, she wants something from them because she did it at the last second. And of course, they're not going to say, oh, sure. She's going to say, are you telling me can I count on these numbers or not? It's a very simple yes or no question.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's frustrating.
Caitlin says this is the best court proceeding I've ever heard. I mean, it is an interesting one for sure. Thank you. Let's see. Stir Crazy, thank you for the 5. I really think they keep sending Sarah money to hide. That's why Laura travels there so much. My opinion. Hey, I don't disagree. But I can't prove it. You know what I mean? So, all right.
Transparent that the money went to pay bills, again, because as it had been said in the GoFundMe, whatever you want to call it, pitch, that we had serious financial struggles.
Okay.
And it did not say if for medical bills or medical copays.
I understand that.
Medical challenges, many of them.
Okay. But wouldn't you agree though that by mentioning all of Mr. Owens' medical ailments, the implication was that the money was needed to help fund health and medical expenses? Would you agree with that? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's enough. You don't need to explain. It was a simple yes or no question. So you don't agree that the implication from your GoFundMe donation request that the money was going to be used for medical and health bills. You don't agree.
No, it was an update for his.
Why doesn't she just stop it? No.
Hold on. Okay, it was an update for. You could have written that update on Medium.com. You didn't have to solicit money from people, rather. Sorry. So that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. But okay. I mean, Laura's blog was pretty widely viewed. If you wanted people to find out an update about her father's health conditions, that would have been a good outlet and for free. Well, and you wouldn't have had to take money from people. So
you don't even need that. The guy has a Facebook account where he posts his reaction to news stories, right?
Oh, well, I blocked all of them, so I don't know.
Well, there you go.
You guys tell me. Sorry. I like literally want nothing to do with these people, and they think that I'm like I don't know. They call me like a weird cult leader and shit. I'm just like, I literally blocked you guys. I don't want anything to do with you. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
But like, whatever. Pascal Mueller, 1903. Think you're the 5. Lauren, what do you think the bankruptcy court thinks about a 35-year dependent receiving $2,000 a month? I think she's 36 now, dude. I don't know what they think about that. I think that's. I actually don't know.
Oh, well, here's what I think Ms. Giamo thinks. I think she thinks she gets way more than $2,000 a month.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Based on prior filings plus Laura's own Chapter 7 filings.
Yeah. That alone, though, I think that the 35-year dependent doesn't need to be receiving a bank transfer of $2,000 a month, even if it was just the $2,000. I think that they would be paying for her food and shit out of their accounts, which can be accounted for, right? They don't need to transfer $2,000 a month to her. They can just give her a credit card under their account, and she can pay for things that way.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the federal attorney, I wouldn't be sort of judging their living situation. I would be following the money and trying to make sure they're not violating the process or misusing the process of bankruptcy, right? Like we've seen, Ms. Giamo said, hey, why don't we dismiss this with the stipulation that they can't refile bankruptcy for up to a year because they're just trying to do this to stay the foreclosure of their home. She's just trying to stop them from misusing bankruptcy. Or in the alternative, she's trying to make them follow the correct process and follow the judge's orders. That's all she's trying to do.
Right. Yep. Teardad says, Lauren, you are my cult leader. Cassie says, Lauren, you would make a great cult leader in all honesty. I'll tell you what, I'm not a fan of cults. I think they're harmful to a lot of people. We can be a club, like a chess club, right? But like it's a different kind of club. Okay. Club, yes. Club president. No cult leaders. No cult leaders. We don't like cults here.
It's fair.
Let's see. Let's go for another. We'll go to like 45 or 50 minutes, and then we'll stop.
Yet who have been loyal with him over 46 years.
Hold on, Miss Owens. Miss Owens, I'm going to have everybody on the phone right now who's on here check their phone and make sure it's on mute.
Here we go again.
This is a recurring problem, and I'm not sure. I might have to like stop the meeting and interrupting this hearing, this proceeding. So people failing to keep their phones muted. Okay, so let me just ask you, and to be clear, you would agree that
just dropping in, hey Omar, just dropping in to say hello to my favorite gay. Oh, what about me?
Is he talking about me or you, Lauren?
You for sure. Hi, Omar. All right.
payments to a Macy's credit card would not in any way alleviate Mr. Owens' medical struggles, right? You would admit that pretty obvious fact, right?
Yes.
Okay. You say that the wording said that it was financial struggles. Did you ever state in any responses to donations or any public statements that the funds were being used for things like your Macy's bill?
Absolutely not, because they were not. In my view, those were expenses that were being covered by our pension and Social Security.
But you'll agree that according to your accounting of the GoFundMe funds, you state that some of the funds were used for Macy's.
Oh, no.
Again, that was, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. I have explained how I interpreted it. My effort was to be transparent about absolutely everything we had paid out of all of our accounts. There was no intent to hide any.
I was trying to be transparent about everything. I don't know who's paying my daughter's attorney.
Here's the problem, Lauren. If you do it right, there's no interpretation. Okay, you don't have to interpret anything. You don't have to have a feeling like, I feel like I paid Macy's with this money versus that money, even though all the money's in the same account. if you want to pay Macy's from a specific income stream, you have to set it up so it happens that way. You can't just commingle everything and then say, ask me about my opinions later. That's not how any of this works.
Don't need context, she says. Yeah. The DOJ attorney is tired of the context too. Yeah.
And I saw a comment in chat earlier that was like, okay, there's aspects of finance that are like an art more than a science. And I agree. But what we're talking about here is a regular family with some regular bank accounts where a bunch of money comes in and a bunch of money goes out. That's like 2 columns or whatever, per account in an Excel spreadsheet. It's literally just math. That's all she has to do. And if she wants to get fancy, she can take a little yellow highlighter or green or blue or purple or whatever her favorite pink Moose Club color is, and highlight the GoFundMe money so it adds up to the actual GoFundMe money account.
Echo says Bruce trying to logic a way out of a situation that wasn't logic, didn't you?
I'm gonna do it. Someday I'm gonna succeed at this, Echoes. Someday I'm gonna keep trying.
You can keep trying, bro.
Anything out of like a lot of people, we had a Macy's bill.
Right. So I understand. So what you're saying is that when you did this accounting, you understood.
Did you see like a lot of people, we had a Macy's bill? Lady, I spent my money on pants. I don't know what you spent your money on, but mine didn't cost that much money. Like, what the fuck? Like a lot of people, we had a Macy's credit card bill. Most people are capped at like $1,000 or $2,000, not $40,000 or whatever the fuck they owed on that card. And I think maybe that Macy's card may have also been tied to like an Amex or something. So I'm not positive, but it's possible that that is why their limit was so high, and that's also why they're a little disingenuous in their description of things here. It's possible, but not. I can't confirm that. So
that the accounting of the GoFundMe funds was a request to determine how you used the 132,000 approximate amount of GoFundMe funds, right? That's what you understood it to be?
Yes.
Yes. And you didn't think it was a request to show the U.S. trustee just itemize all the payments that came out of all of your accounts over an 18-month period, correct?
No, I actually did think that was it, and that the GoFundMe was part of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did think that you
so
transparency and was part of it.
So you're saying that you believed that when you were told by the judge is the one that ordered you to provide this accounting of the GoFundMe funds, isn't that correct?
Correct.
And now if I submit this accounting that you provided to me and I say, Judge, this was the accounting that was provided to me by the debtors, are you going to deny that what you put in here was an itemization of how you used the $132,000 of GoFundMe funds? Will you deny that?
I am not attempting to deny anything. I'm trying to be very transparent. Again, we had other funds that came into our main.
You don't have to repeat yourself. I'm going to stop you. Because we are going to be here for hours and hours if you keep repeating yourself, because you're just not answering my question. I'm going to ask one more thing about this. You said that you believe that the accounting of the GoFundMe funds was intended to give the U.S. trustee an itemization of all of the disbursements out of all of your accounts over the 18-month period. Is that what you're saying?
My understanding.
I'm asking you, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Yes or no?
It's yes or no.
Can you phrase that again?
Sure.
Oh,
a few moments ago.
Lauren, this is important.
Well,
you
actually,
see right
why don't
here?
you just tell me in your own words. What did you believe?
She asks her to repeat the question because she wasn't listening to the original question, which was just a yes or no. Is this a good accounting of your GoFundMe usage? She's just waiting for her turn to pontificate. And this happens a couple times in this whole video. You have to listen for this because she'll ask for the question again. And it's because she's not actively listening to answer the question yes or no.
Right. Pundit Button says, ma'am, these are yes and no questions. I can hear Deandra's voice saying that.
Yeah.
Well, let me actually move back a little bit so I can hear what you're saying.
What you put in here was an itemization of how you used the $132,000 of GoFundMe funds. Will you deny that?
I am not attempting to deny anything. I'm trying to be very transparent. Again, we had other funds that came into our main.
You don't have to repeat yourself. I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you because we are going to be here for hours and hours if you keep repeating yourself because you're just not answering my question. I'm going to ask one more thing about this. You said that you believe that the accounting of the GoFundMe funds was intended to give the U.S. trustee an itemization of all of the disbursements out of all of your accounts over the 18-month period. Is that what you're saying?
My understanding.
I'm asking you, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Yes or no?
Can you phrase that again?
Sure. A few moments ago. Well, actually, why don't you just tell me in your own words? What did you believe that when the court ordered you to provide the U.S. trustee with an accounting of the GoFundMe funds, what in your mind did you think you were required to produce to the U.S. trustee?
My understanding, my interpretation was not that the court just wanted the GoFundMe. My interpretation of that was that they wanted everything. And so that's why I attempted to give everything and why I told the judge whenever it was when we had the status conference, when I said that we had turned over voluminous statements because I wanted to be very transparent. I didn't want to hide anything. And I did not think that the judge was specifically just asking for GoFundMe. I thought she was asking really for everything and to be transparent on everything. So that was what, I wanted to do.
Well, then I'm going to take a break. I want you to go get the accounting of GoFundMe funds that you sent me. I'd like to do that because I need to understand. That's what you're saying. So according to what you're saying, what you provided me was an itemization of all disbursements out of all 8 bank accounts over an 18-month period. Is that what you're suggesting to me?
I'm saying we gave you the bank statements. We gave everything that we thought would be, an issue. Everything that you.
Everything that would be an issue.
As I say, what I had.
That's literally everything.
Everything that would be an issue is not everything.
It is for them.
Notice how also all her language is past tense.
Yeah, right.
We attempted to give you everything. We wanted to be transparent. She never says anything about what she actually did. It's all these aspirational statements.
Well, I mean, in her defense, her unnamed friend did it, so.
And I think the whole point here is that they gave this attorney an accounting that was slightly more than the GoFundMe money, right? It's 144 versus 128 or whatever the number, 132 or whatever the number is. There's some difference, tens of thousands of dollars difference, right?
Mm.
And it's like, okay. And I think they're going to find out if you give them everything, it's a lot more. So here it's very interesting that she says, we gave you everything we thought would be an issue. That's not the same as everything, period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Dima, thank you for the 15. I usually have a pretty good read on people, and my gut is telling me one thing about this family, just F off. I mean, that's fair enough. And Buffy Lynn, thank you for the 10 gems. I appreciate that. I'm getting lots of gems tonight. I've never gotten gems before, so this is cool. Thanks, guys.
We're rich with gems.
We're going to get through, let's see. I marked the spot here, 48:23, Jan gets scolded. So we're at 47:58. So we're going to do like another couple minutes of this, and then we'll call it a night.
Done when I had initially looked at the transfers from my husband's account that the GoFundMe money had gone into our main account. I thought it was very clear as to what had come in and what had gone out, and that it was basically exhausted after the first couple of months. So that was my interpretation. And as I say, we can look at the GoFundMe. I stand by what we submitted to you, and as I say, I put the stuff together as fast as I could, as thorough as I could, and as transparent as I could. So,
Okay.
If you want to get the nuts and bolts on the GoFundMe, I can. I think that there are people on the line who are.
All right, enough. I can't, Miss Naylor. No, I'm not going to allow you to use this as a platform to just start going off. No.
You got to use your medium.
I had asked a very specific question. I want to at least have you admit that you provided me with a document that you titled "Accounting of GoFundMe Funds." Will you admit that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Of course.
And among the other items that you list is that you used funds to pay for ADT home security, correct?
Oh boy.
Correct.
And was that
Like the DOJ and the judge, all the people that keep bringing up this smear campaign in front of are all just like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're here because you guys are doing some stupid shit. And you can't do that in federal court.
I mean, it's telling that, Ms. Giamo has to go back to like, did you give me a file with a particular name? Like she's gone back to square one just to get a yes answer. This is like pulling teeth.
Yeah, it is. Okay, we'll run that back one more time for the people who are saying we need this as a clip. Hang on.
That was my interpretation, and as I say, we can look at the GoFundMe. I stand by what we submitted to you, and as I say, I put the stuff together as fast as I could, as thorough as I could, and as transparent as I could. So,
okay?
If you want to get the nuts and bolts on the GoFundMe, I can. I think that there are people on the line who are.
All right, enough. I can't, Miss Naylor. No, I'm not going to allow you to use this as a platform to just start going off. No, stop. I had asked a very specific question. I want to at least have you admit that you provided me with a document that you titled "Accounting of GoFundMe Funds." Will you admit that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Of course.
And among the other items that you list is that you used funds to pay for ADT home security, correct?
Correct.
And
all right, we're gonna stop it here for tonight. That was a lot. Yeah. And we only got through 49 minutes of this. It's a 2-hour and 37-minute hearing, so I'm gonna do some more tomorrow. But
oh boy,
the whole thing is crazy. This was having such a hard time narrowing it down. I really wanted to do like a 5 highlights of the hearing thing, and I was just like, oh, thing is nuts.
Yeah. And Lauren, for me, they're asking a lot of questions about the GoFundMe, which I think is wild because I didn't really expect it to go to spend this much time on that one subject.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't care what they do with their GoFundMe money, as long as, number one, they don't violate GoFundMe's terms of service. Number two, they don't take advantage of the bankruptcy system. And number three, that when they're in bankruptcy, they do it correctly. And as long as they do that, I personally don't care what they're doing, right? I'm not gonna...
I have a problem with them using the funds to pay for Laura's legal bills. I'll put it that way. I would have a problem with that.
that might be a violation of the GoFundMe terms of service. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
on
might
that.
be.
But
I think the GoFundMe only prohibits legal fundraisers for violent crimes, but like you also can't be dishonest about why you're raising funds, so that is a problem.
Mhm.
So
And maybe that's why they're asking so many questions here.
it could be.
It's not my, I'm not the judge. I'm not the jury. I'm just trying to understand what can we learn here.
Yeah.
And I guess, we did our best.
Well, I've learned that Jan doesn't bring her laptop to meetings. So that's
Oh,
what I
boy,
got
yeah.
so far. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. Don't forget to hit the like button for me. It helps me out a lot. And we will see you next time. Bye. I'm hitting the button now.
Word.